Hello everyone, this is Yoan, and in this episode we're gonna make this lovely drawstring bucket bag. This is an adorable bag that is quite roomy in the interior, yet it has a compact appearance. The finished measurements are about 10 inch by 8 inch when it's closed like this. When the top is expanded, the measurements is about 12 inches wide and the bottom is measuring 6 inches deep. It comes with a magnetic snap closure. In the interior there is a zipper pocket, a slip pocket, an optional lanyard strap for your keys, and of course an adjustable strap. I made this one with cotton quilting fabric and this one is made with canvas fabric, and I love both results. So please enjoy this video and let's get started. First we're gonna prepare the bottom panel of the bag. So there is a free template that you may download and print out. The link is in the description box down below. So the outer line or the black line here will be for the main fabric and the lining fabric. And the inner line or the blue line is for the interfacing. So here I've already cut the template and position that on top of the fabric using a couple of pins to secure it in place. And if you've got some fabric weights, it will be a good idea to use them as well. I use my rotary cutter to cut the template, and you want to cut one piece for the exterior and one piece for the interior. Once you've done that, you want to fold the bottom panel in half lengthwise and then snip the center point about 1/4 inch. And repeat the same widthwise. Next, we're gonna cut the interfacing. For the bottom base, you will need a heavier or firm interfacing. I use Decovil for this project. Another good alternative is fusible foam, the one that is designed for bag, such as from Bosel. Or you may also use the Peltex fusible one. Once you've cut the interfacing, go ahead and fuse that to the wrong side of the exterior bottom panel, following the manufacturer's instruction. And there you go. Now let's prepare our main exterior panels. So you want to cut 2 rectangles, one for the front and one for the back. For the interfacing, this time we're going to use the fusible fleece, or you may also use batting. I went ahead and quilted my fabric since I'm in the mood for the quilted texture. It is totally optional if you use fusible fleece. So you can quilt this as desired. I do the simple diamond shape design. So first I draw some straight lines on bias angle about 3 inches apart and then quilt with my walking foot. Now I'm going to draw the corresponding lines right from the opposite to create the diamond pattern. Now let's work on the drawstring casings. Cut 2 identical strips, one for the front and one for the back. Hem the short edges. First we're gonna fold towards the wrong side about 1/4 inch and then press. And then fold one more time, the same about 1/4 inch and then press. Once you've done that, stitch along the edges with about 1/8 inch of seam allowance. Repeat the same to the opposite side. Now you wanna fold the strip in half, just like so, and press. Find the center point of the strip, so you want to fold this in half lengthwise and then mark the center point with your fabric marker. You also want to do the same with the main exterior panels, so mark the center point both the top and the bottom as well. Position the casing on the right side of the top edges of the exterior panel, matching the center point, and then clip this in place. Once you've done that, you want to sew this with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And you want to repeat the same to the other panel. Lay your exterior panel wrong side up. At the bottom edge, you want to measure 4 inches from the side edges and then put a little mark there, just like shown on the screen right now. And you want to do the same to the opposite side, of course. Next, we're going to create a couple of pleats at the bottom. From the 4-inch point mark, you want to fold towards the center about 1/2 inch. Don't worry about getting it too precise. This can be adjusted later when we are attaching the bottom panel. Now let's pin this in place, and then we're going to do the same to the opposite side. From the 4-inch point mark, fold towards the center about 1/2 inch and then pin. Lay both exterior panels right sides together, clip them in place, and then stitch the sides with 3/8 inch of seam allowance. Now we're gonna attach the bottom base. So you wanna keep the main body wrong side out, and then take the bottom panel. You wanna lay that right side down. Match the side seams with the center notch that we clipped earlier. Make sure that the seams are open so it won't be too bulky. And then clip and repeat the same to the opposite side. Now we're gonna match the center point of the body with the notch, and the same goes with the opposite side. Now that we've matched all 4 center points, we're gonna go ahead and continue clipping. Feel free to readjust the pleats. You may loosen it up or tighten it up in order to accommodate the bottom panel. Once everything is secured, go ahead and stitch all around with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance, or simply stitch right by the edges of the interfacing. The key to sewing this with brace is to slow down and no need to rush. Also, don't hesitate to stop every now and then and readjust your fabric if you need to. In order to relax the curve, clip along the seam allowances about 1/2 inch apart, and of course be careful not to cut through the stitches. You can skip the pleated area. Now let's turn this inside out, and we're gonna move on and work on the D-ring tabs. Cut 4 little rectangles, lay 2 of these right sides together, sew all around with 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance, leaving about 1 to 2 inches of opening to turn this piece inside out later. Now you want to clip all the corners. Be careful not to cut through the stitches, and then turn this inside out through the opening hole. Poke all the corners, make them nice and flat. Fold the raw edges of the opening towards the wrong side about 1/4 of an inch, and then you want to go ahead and press. And once you've done that, top stitch all around with 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Attach the D-ring just like that, and then stitch this in place with 1/2 an inch of seam allowance. Position the D-ring tab right on the side seams, aligning the edges of the D-ring with the top edges of the back. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of fabric basting glue to hold this temporarily. From the inside of the back, you want to make sure that the seams are open so it will not be too bulky. And then we're going to stitch this in place. Make a little rectangle about 1/2 an inch wide. Simply follow the already existing seam line so it's super simple. You may want to stitch this around twice to ensure extra bond. Now you want to repeat the same to the opposite side. Next, we're going to work on the drawstring straps. So you want to cut 2 3-inch wide strips, and we're going to do the usual folding and pressing method, starting by folding the short edges towards the wrong side about 1/2 an inch, and then press, and do the same to the opposite side. Fold the strap in half just like so, and then press, open the fold, and then fold the edges towards the center fold, and then press, and then fold this one more time, and then press. Once you've done that, top stitch all around with 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Once you've sewn both of the straps, you want to set this aside, and we're going to install this later after we assemble the back. Now let's work on the back interior. So these are the 2 main panels, and here is the bottom panel. Next, we're going to work on the slip pocket. So fold the pocket panel in half, just like so. Stitch the sides and the bottom with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance, leaving about 3 inches of opening at the bottom to turn this pocket inside out. Once you've done that, clip all the corners. Again, be careful not to cut through the stitches. Turn the pocket inside out, poke the corners, fold the raw edges of the opening hole towards the wrong side, about 3/8 of an inch, and then press this. Top stitch along the top edges. Position the pocket panel right on the center of the interior panel, about a couple of inches down from the top edges. And then you want to pin this in place, and then sew the sides and the bottom with about 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance. I start sewing from the right hand side. About 1/2 an inch down, you want to pivot the fabric at 45 degrees angle, just like so, and then stitch right on that angle. Sew back and forth about a couple of times, and then go back and continue stitching down. As you get to the opposite side, you want to repeat the same angle stitching. This will help reinforce the pocket. If you wish to add the zipper pocket for your bag, this is the time to do it. On the wrong side of your zipper pocket panel, draw a rectangle 8 inch by 3/8 of an inch, And as usual, you want to draw the center line and the little corner triangles. On the wrong side of the interior panel, you want to apply a little bit of lightweight interfacing. So cut a small rectangle and apply that about ½ inch down from the top edges, center the position. So I'm just going to show you this real quick since I've done this at least half a dozen times. If you want a more thorough explanation, please refer to the Festive Shoulder Bag project. So I will put the link somewhere in the description box down below. Position the pocket panel on the right side of the interior panel, center the position with the right side facing down, about 1 inch down from the top edges. Pop a couple of pins to secure this in place and then stitch along the outer line of the template and then proceed with attaching the zipper. For the interior lanyard, if you wish to opt for this, you will need to cut a 2-inch wide strip, fold and press this the same way as when we did the drawstring strap. And you should end up with a ½ inch wide strip and then sew this all around with 1/8 inch of seam allowance. Once you've done that, you want to attach the swivel hook, have about 1 inch clearance there, and then stitch this in place. Simply make a little rectangle there, about 3/8 inch or ½ inch wide. Now take the back interior panel. We're going to position the lanyard on one of the side edges, about 3 inches down from the top, with the right side facing down, and then stitch this in place with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. To install the magnetic snap closure, first you want to mark 1¼ inch down from the top edge, right on the center. Apply a little bit of interfacing on the wrong side to stabilize this area. So you want to install the female one for the back side of the interior, and then install the male for the front side of the interior. Now you want to work on the pleats at the bottom of your interior panels the same way we did with the exterior panels, and then we're going to assemble the interior also the same way we did with the back exterior. This time though, you want to leave about 4 to 5 inches of opening at one of the side seams, the one without the lanyard strap. This way it will be easier for you to close the opening later. And here I've already attached the bottom panel, so my back interior is done and ready to go. For the strap, we're gonna do the simple adjustable strap. So you wanna prepare a 50 to 55 inches long strip, 4 inches wide, since we're gonna make a 1 inch strap. So if you use cotton quilting fabric, just like I do here, you may need to join 2 strips together. Fold and press this the same way we did the drawstring strap. And then stitch all around with 1/8 inch of seam allowance. And there you go, the strap is done. To assemble the back, you want to have the exterior panel wrong side out and the interior panel right side out. Insert the interior panel into the exterior panel, so the right sides should be touching each other at this point. First, you want to match the side seams and then clip this all around. Once everything is secured, you want to go ahead and sew with 3/8 inch of seam allowance. Turn the back inside out through the side opening. As you get to the bottom part, pull your fabric slowly and carefully. You may need to bend the bottom panel ever so slightly in order to get it through the opening. Alright, now that we've birthed our back, let's neaten everything up. So you want to poke the bottom corners, make everything nice and smooth. And then finger press the top edges, or you can also go to your ironing board and give this a quick pressing. Just be mindful with the hardware and the zipper. Once everything is looking nice and neat, go ahead and top stitch all around with 1/8 inch of seam allowance. Fold the raw edges of the opening hole towards the wrong side about 3/8 inch, and then stitch along the edges to close the opening. Now let's insert the drawstring straps. Attach a safety pin at one of the end of the strap and then insert that into the casing. Use the safety pin to help you guide the strap through the casing until you get to the other side. Pull the strap through, make sure that both sides are even. Repeat the same to the opposite. Grab both ends of the straps and then make a knot to secure the end. Do the same to the opposite side as well. So when you close the back, simply pull the drawstring from both sides, and there you go guys. The last step will be to attach the strap. So this is quite simple and straightforward. I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know how to do this. So take your adjuster slider with the right side facing up and then feed the end of the strap from the wrong side towards the right side and then back to the wrong side. Have about 1.5 inch clearance there. And then stitch a rectangle about 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch wide to secure this in place. Now let's set this aside and then grab the other end of the strap and feed that to one of the D-ring from the inside towards the outside, just like shown here. Pull the strap through and then grab the slider and then feed this from the wrong side towards the right side and then back to the wrong side. Pull the strap through. Meanwhile, you want to make sure that there is no twist. Now feed this end of the strap to the D-ring from the outside towards the inside. Again, you want to have about 1.5 inch of clearance there and then stitch this in place just like when we attach the adjuster slider. And that's pretty much it, guys. Our drawstring bucket bag is done. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys, and until next time, goodbye!